I'm live. Hello. Ooh, everything feels so choppy. Hold on. We'll see if that gets better. I don't know. Let me know there in chat if you're having trouble seeing me and stuff like that. Otherwise, welcome to Growing Gratitude. I am Becca Lori Hector here, and Walter is here with me today. He is scratching himself a little bed, and he's gonna lay down and enjoy growing gratitude with us today. So, welcome. Growing gratitude is where I hop on YouTube live every Sunday these days in the morning, and I share with you the challenges of being an autistic adult alive right now. And then we kind of go through that. I talk about that, and then I talk about the things that motivate us, the things, the glimmers, all of those things that kind of get us through and motivate us through each week, and how we resolve those things. Right. So welcome to it. Here I am. As you see, I am still not outside. Am I sad? Very sad. um, it is still winter up here in Maine. It just won't give. Outside today, it is down back into the 30s or so, and um, it is supposed to go back up a little bit and things like that. But we're still we just had snow on the ground, and so it is still really muddy and wet behind my house. It is dirty dog feet all around, and so I'm inside. We're back inside. Happy Sunday. We'll get there. We will get there. And when we do, it will be glorious out there. Um, in any case, welcome to Growing Gratitude and the things I want to talk about today. Well, Sundays um, are a new challenging day for me. So um, Antonio works part time. The rest of the time, he's of course my support person, because otherwise I would be still on disability. And so, reality of life, as a disabled person, a multiply disabled person, my spouse is also my support person. But he works part time, and so today on Sundays is one of the days that he works. Right. So I've been trying to learn to use my Sundays, right, in as a personal challenge day, I want to say. And so Sundays have first started out as a personal challenge of rest, because when he first started going back to work part time, it was partly kind of around when I was also switching away from DEI and back to my coaching material and things like that. And he it was it's been an adjustment period, I guess, is what I want to say. And so I started out challenging myself with this Sunday alone, right? It's 6 hours alone. It's not like I've got alone for 24 hours, right? But it's a consistent time of the week that I know I'm going to have time by myself without any obligation, right? Other than to take care of our pets. So I said, okay, I don't have work obligations on Sunday. I don't consider this a work obligation. And I don't have that kind of thing. I don't have to be checking my email and such. And so what can I do with my Sundays? And in the beginning, I was so tired that rest was clear winner. Okay. It was clearly had to be the focus of my first few Sundays, or first 2 months of Sundays, really, was rest and transition, right? I was transitioning through and away from things and letting my brain adjust to that and all of those things. Um, and so then I went from challenging myself to rest on those Sundays to what could I do? Like, what were the things I wanted to do for myself on Sundays, right? How could I use that day to lighten my load in some way for the week? Could I use it to be creative, right? And so I started using my Sundays as a way to experiment. What were the things that I liked getting done alone? And so I started playing around with that, and I've gotten some things out of my Sundays. I got through a lot of things. I write the newsletter on Sundays, for example. It's just a perfect exercise for a Sunday, and so that's something that I do on my Sundays. Well, I'm now did this last shift where I've been talking to you about how we moved gratitude to Sundays. I'm kind of laying back on social media. I'm doing different things in terms of my where my energy is going, and I can't even tell you how good I feel. It's almost like sad how good I feel. But between what's going on politically in the world, right? And really just a sense of I feel the feeling the need to to turn in, I guess, a little bit. I have not missed really the intense obligation to social media that I had. I don't miss it. I didn't stop finding an outlet. There were just so many reasons that it wasn't working for me anymore. And here I am. I think I'm about 2 weeks into it, maybe 3 weeks into it, and I just am feeling so much better already. So hooray for catching a good shift. Hooray for knowing that you have to be responsive in time and flexible in real time, right? In order for um, the systems that we talk about in self-defined living to work. And so I went through the whole thing. And as I'm noticing, I'm making these shifts, right? I had to be responsive to what was happening in real time in terms of the real world, right? And so it's been an intense little 6-month period here. But these past few weeks, I have finally started to feel better. And some of that I know, some of it is the change in season and the weather getting warmer and the prospect of beautiful days ahead, longer days ahead, right? Days outside is definitely part of it. The other part of it is certainly admitting that it's time to let go of certain things and that I'm ready for that next shift. I'm ready for that next evolution of myself. And I think in a very, in that I think that social media is not a part of it in that no more so than my website, really like that. Like it's a calling card, my social media. I'm there. Here are the things that I talk about. Here's how you can connect with me, right? And I don't want to be in the machine producing content, right? And necessarily seeking the views and the shares and all and the engagement and all of that stuff. And that has salvaged me so many spoons, right? And so I'm moving into a new phase for my Sunday challenges, I feel like, right? And so I've been thinking, what are the things that um, I should be using my Sunday for. So there are a couple of things that I want to do with my Sundays depending on how I'm feeling, right? Because the other piece is I have multiple disabilities going on, right? So some Sundays roll around, right? And I feel like poo just because I it's a day, and it just is working out that way. Or maybe I had a fabulous Saturday and did something, and now I'm tired on Sunday. And so some Sundays I will have a lot of energy, and some Sundays I will not have a lot of energy. And so it can't, I have to be flexible in the challenge. And so I am in a period where I want to challenge myself to do things that I always used to do alone. And so I want to remind you that I did not meet my husband until I was almost 40 years old. So I'm going to be 49. He and I are together and have known each other for just under 10 years. Okay. So for 39 years of my life, right, I was a solo creature. And as a solo creature, I did everything alone, or, maybe with my mom, some of the things, but mostly I did things alone. And when I did things with other people, it was usually stuff that they wanted to do, right? In that weird, ugly, people pleasing way, right? And so, I didn't ever think twice about doing things by myself. It was just my general nature. And so easier, right? As an autistic, especially an undiagnosed autistic or an unidentified autistic to know that alone is easier, right? And so I did everything alone. But then I met Antonio, and he is. I don't mean to say this in a gross way, but in a loving way, it is like being alone, being with him. We are an extension of each other in a weird way. We truly, truly complement each other and met each other. At a phase in our lives where we're older, and friend groups are generally smaller, all of those things, right? You have a different perspective on life, and um, I really genuinely feel like I married my best friend, right? And so we spend a lot of time together. We do almost everything together. And so I noticed as I was having these Sundays free up that there were some things that I was starting to feel anxious about doing alone. Um, and that is, you know, a little bit of a window into my little trauma responses, right? I know that I have the strength to do things by myself, right? But when you're in a relationship, you learn to rely on each other for certain things, right? And so Antonio tends to drive when we go places, things like that, right? And it's just a preference. He prefers it. I prefer to not. And so it's really easy. But if I want to do anything by myself, right, I have to remember that I have to get in the driver's seat. right? And I have to negotiate the car, and I have to do those things to get myself somewhere. And so um, I started thinking about that a lot. What are some of the things that I'm avoiding doing alone, or I'm slightly anxious about doing alone, right? And could I use my Sundays to challenge myself to do those things alone once again? Right? Because what I think is you have a strong relationship. Your relationship is only as strong as like the individuals are in it, right? And it's why relationships work when you fully support your partner in their dreams and all of those things, and they do it back for you, right? Because then individually, you are happy creatures, right? And so, um, I want to make sure that I can stand comfortably on my own 2 feet, right? It's not my husband's obligation to feel like he has a requirement, right? That I will not be okay, right? Like that kind of thing. And so I started thinking in that kind of loop, right? Because I know my disabilities will continue probably to get worse as I age, right? Because our bodies just kind of at a certain point. I certainly felt it after I turned 40. And so, that's going to also become, and so I better take advantage also of the time I have while I don't need a cane and I don't need a walker, right? And I don't need someone to help me to get places. And so there's a sense of that too. And so I just decided that is going to be what my Sundays are for. And so today it's going to be a mix. Today I have some things that I need to work on um, that I'm excited about. For example, today, I'm certainly not feeling like I can go out there physically and do something physically, like go on a hike or something with the big guy over here or anything like that. I'm feeling a little slightly flare-like, right? So I'm going to do some computer stuff, which includes for me making some updates for the course because guess what? I'm putting the course on my website. I'm going to reduce the price a little bit, make it really simple, straightforward, nothing fancy, but there and available because I have folks asking for it, which is amazing to me. So I'm going to get it back up there early this week, hopefully tomorrow. I'll get it back up and the course will be there. And in addition, to that, I created the self-defined living shop. You can now go to the little shoppy over at beccalaurie.com and you can check that out because I will have the course in there. And then I also have some continuing download tools there for you guys. So some cute little supportive ways that you can tools, not free downloads. I don't want to say that. That's not what I said. That you can download onto your computer and you can print them out as you like, use them as many times as you want once you've purchased it. But some downloads that support that self-defined living, some downloads that I've created more recently, right? And that's what I'm going to use the Shopee for, right over there, Shopee Shops. So you can, if there are tools that you want to try out or things that, or you like the things that I talk about and you're not ready to jump into the course, but you want to try out something with less of a commitment, I have my little tools there. And as I'm developing them, they will go into the Shopee. And if I get myself organized enough to get my Redbubble store up and get some t-shirts going for you guys, that'll go on the shop. And so I just created a little Shopee for us, the Self-Defined Living Shopee. So if you are looking for the course or have been looking for the course in the last couple of weeks and you keep getting a dead link, I'm sorry. I am on it. I am working on it, but I am one solo human being. And so I hope to have it up for you guys tomorrow in the Shopee. So you can head to beccalaurie.com or beccalauriehector.com. They both go same place. Um, and check out the shop and see if there are any downloads. If you've already taken the course and that kind of stuff, these will completely line up with the things that we went through in the course itself. So you can come in either way with it. And then my hope is to also eventually re-record some of the seminar series, the Self-Defined Living seminar series, and have those there too. So that will be coming your way, ladies and gents. I am on it. Um, what else? What else? What else? So that was the big thing. That's what I wanted to share with you is really that because that's going to be part of my Sunday today is I have some things I want to fix, some of the handouts for the course that I want to make some changes to. And then I'll be working on that tomorrow and getting it up and ready. I have some little edits I want to make to the newsletter, which is headed your way in the coming week for April. And let's see what else. Yeah, so I have to do that. And then I said, okay, so then I'm on my challenge. So those are the things that I've sort of been using my Sundays for when I'm not able to do much more and wasn't able to do much more than just sit at the computer. And then I have other projects around the house that I have been avoiding in such a way that you know how we have this really it's just a very neurodivergent way. When there's a task that we are not looking forward to or feels too big, I think, feels just too daunting in that way. Not big as in it's a big project, but it feels big giant to you, like very daunting to you. We have this lovely habit of just being of putting it off. We'll just put it off. It feels too big. It feels too big. And then what happens when you put it off is that it starts to feel bigger. It just like it grows as it sits there and you put it off somehow. And I've got a bunch of those little things sitting around for myself. The biggest of which is I really desperately need to go through my drawers and my closet and get rid of some things and rediscover some other things. I'm sure that there are things in there I've forgotten that exist. And I need to kind of cull out. I need to clean. I need space in there. I can barely get into my drawers, and that's very frustrating to me. And it's a daily nuisance that I have been still avoiding. And so the challenge for me today is, um, do I feel will do I feel rejuvenated enough right after I sit and do some computer stuff and just kind of chill? I'll eat my lunch and then maybe I'll have enough energy to tackle my drawers. And bonus points if I tackle the closet as well. I will then, of course, donate the things that I no longer fit into, which is really, some that's probably for another growing gratitude. We can talk about the way that body weight fluctuates and how frustrating that can be. And so, I'll go through there and there'll be some things that really will probably never fit me again and I would need to just let go of. Right. And so I have to do it. And sometimes it's an uncomfortable process. And I'm not looking forward to it. So that's my challenge for today. Can I find the energy to go through my drawers and closet today? And that's something that I know that's around I had talked about not wanting to do things alone, and I know that that is a roundabout way to get there, but in the future, I'm thinking about things like taking myself out for a meal, right, and sitting in a restaurant alone, going to the movies alone, right, going even to the bookstore alone, right, going places alone. But this specific challenge of the drawers, we both keep saying to each other, gotta do the drawers, gotta do the drawers, gotta do the drawers. And so, in some way, we've been allowing each other to put off the drawers and closet for much longer. So, I'm challenging myself to be the first domino. You know how you set off the first domino and it boop, and then all the other ones go down, right? My hope is if I get started by myself, because right now I'm avoiding doing it alone, right? I somehow need parallel play with it, and I'm avoiding the task entirely, right? So if I go tackle it, will it have a bonus effect of then perhaps encouraging Antonio to do his drawers as well? Right. And then will it be the first domino for me in this challenge of tackling things that I'm avoiding doing alone? Right. I'm hoping so. And so that is the challenge of today. That is my Sunday challenge for self. Um, and I hope to get through those other things. In the meantime, we'll see how it goes. And so I'm curious to you guys, those of you out there, what are your thoughts on doing things alone? Are you comfortable doing things alone? Do you prefer to do things alone? Do you prefer to do it with someone else? Do you have a partner or a best friend you do a lot of things of, and then you fall into my trap where you're afraid to do things by yourself? Um, Tell me, what is your experience? Share with me in the comments, or hop onto Patreon and share with me there. That's really one of the only places I'm around these days. And so that's my other reminder to you. If you love joining me for Growing Gratitude on Sundays, our little chit chats here where we kind of go through this stuff and check in with each other once a week, I hope that you will head over to my Patreon. It's very small. We're a little tiny community, and I do small amounts of things on there because, as you know, I'm watching my plate. But one of the special things that I do every week is sit there for a journal entry on Friday. And it is the only place that I share that journal entry. I share private photos with that journal entry that don't go elsewhere. I share my inner thoughts. And so if you join me on Sunday, getting that journal entry on Friday, it's a connection. You'll see the connection between those things, those thoughts, between the things that we talk about. And of course, I myself communicate better in writing. So I think my journal entries are a little bit more vulnerable sometimes than what I do here, or have a little more clarity to them, I guess. And so if you enjoy that and you want to support the continuation of growing gratitude so that I can keep doing this, doing the journal entries, um, and doing the other few things that I do really on Patreon, please head over to my Patreon. The link is in the description below. And you can head over there and you can join the Gratitude Growers tier, and for $3 a month, you can support our little community right here on YouTube. And I can keep doing these little sessions with you. And for that, in return, you get that other little window into my life and some other special things as well. So please, please, please go and head over there. And I'd love to see you as well. Over on my website, if you find that interesting. Newsletters there, Shopee is there, and there's my research there and a few other things, if you want to connect. And I hope that we'll build a really lovely growing community over there of people that want to support each other, in thinking bigger than, just the right now, right? And thinking about that planning stuff. Anyway, with that, I am going to say that is the end of Growing Gratitude for this week, you guys. My reminder, as always, every week is to make sure that you take care of your meat suit, that you protect your headspace, and that you keep your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hands, eyeballs, everything open, all your neurons open, right? To all the glimmers out there, because as the world gets tougher and as we get overwhelmed and more exhausted, those glimmers get smaller but more and more impactful. So we need to find them. We need to look for them. They will keep us going. So until next Sunday at 10 a.m., I will see you guys out on the interwebs. I'm still interacting on my social media, still happy to do comments and find you there. I'm absolutely still sharing other people's stuff there. And so please hang out with me there. Find me on Patreon. And of course, check out the Self-Defined Living Shop. I will see you guys next week, and have a good one. Bye.